Imagine a man who has everything money can buy: a massive mansion, luxury cars, expensive clothes, and a business empire that places him at the top of the world. But inside, he is empty, distant, and Christmas to him is just another meaningless date. He has grown accustomed to loneliness and the idea that happiness lies in numbers, material possessions, and status. But everything begins to change when he is forced to spend Christmas alone in his mansion. A young assistant, simple and with a generous heart, is hired to organize the year-end party and, with her warm spirit and the magic of Christmas, she starts showing him that the true meaning of life isn't in the things he owns, but in the small actions, in kindness, and above all, in the love he never knew how to give or receive. With her vision of a simple and true Christmas, she not only transforms the party but the way he sees the world. What happens when a man who believed he needed nothing starts realizing that what he's always wanted has been within reach all along? Get ready for an emotional journey of transformation, where Christmas brings more than just presents. It brings a new chance to fall in love with life and with the people around. This is the story of a man who learned that, even having everything, the most important thing is love. Don't miss this tale of overcoming, redemption, and of course the power of Christmas. Alexandre Moretti was the perfect example of a millionaire. He had it all: a huge mansion, luxury cars, and a business empire that was always expanding. But inside, he was an empty man. Christmas was a date he simply ignored. For him, the holiday season was just a distraction from his business goals. His heart had no space for feelings or festivities. When December arrived, Alexander knew that, once again, he would spend Christmas alone in his massive mansion. He had planned for a business retreat, but a series of last-minute meetings forced him to stay. What should have been a moment of rest and reflection turned into another period of solitude. He looked out the window from the main room, watching the streets decorated with Christmas lights, but felt nothing. The mansion was decorated, but in a cold, lifeless way. There was a giant Christmas tree in the living room, adorned with crystals and gold, but nothing seemed to make sense. Alexander had always had refined taste, but he knew that the decoration had no life. He no longer believed in the Christmas spirit. His life was filled with work, business, and more work. As much as he tried to ignore it, the thought of being alone at Christmas bothered him. He didn't know what to do with the free time. After a long day of video meetings, he decided to call his company assistant, Clara, to organize a small party. Not that he really wanted a party, he just knew it was something he should do. Clara was efficient and organized, and he trusted she would handle it without much emotional involvement. The next morning, Clara arrived at the mansion to assess what needed to be done. Alexander was in a bad mood, as usual. He barely looked at her when she entered. "I need you to organize something for Christmas night," he said, without further explanation. Clara, with her welcoming smile and cheerful spirit, wasn't shaken. "Of course, Mr. Moretti. I'll do my best to make it a memorable event." Alexander watched her as she began to move around the house, unhurried and with an air of tranquility. He knew she had great talent for event planning, but there was something about her that bothered him. She seemed so different from him, so warm and genuine. She wasn't here just to do the job, but to create something real, something more than just a social event. As Clara spoke about the details of the party, Alexander noticed that she was investing energy, not just in the planning, but also in the people. She wanted others to feel good. He, on the other hand, barely cared about that. His only interest was in success, numbers, perfection. But for some reason, he felt a slight irritation that she wasn't as easy to control as the others. Clara stepped away to check on the preparations with the support team. Alexander was left alone, looking at what she was creating. The house, which had seemed so cold before, was now coming to life with the decorations. Even though he wasn't interested in festivities, something inside him began to question if he wasn't missing something important by rejecting this spirit. Clara wasn't just doing her job, she was turning the house into a place of human warmth. Alexander didn't know if he was ready for this kind of change, but one thing he knew: Clara had something he had never had, an open heart. She didn't care about luxury, riches, or status. For her, true joy lay in small gestures and genuine connection between people. And somehow, he was beginning to realize that. Clara arrived at the mansion the next morning, ready to start preparations for the big event. She hadn't expected it to be so difficult to organize a Christmas party in such an impersonal house. Alexander's mansion was beautiful, but at the same time, it felt devoid of life, almost as if it was waiting for something. Clara, with her simple and generous nature, felt she could bring something more to this place. She started with the details. The tree lights, the candles scattered around the house, the elegantly set dining tables. Everything started coming to life as she moved through the house with agility. Clara wasn't a woman of luxury, but she had the gift of turning any space into something cozy and unique. Her work wasn't just about arranging the space, it was about creating an atmosphere of warmth and hospitality, something the mansion lacked. Alexander watched from a distance. He didn't know exactly what to think of Clara. Her simplicity and ability to make something grand without effort were bothering him in ways he didn't understand. He didn't like to let himself be affected by emotions, but Clara seemed to bring something to the surface in his heart that he wanted to ignore. He was distant, but something in the way she spoke about the small things made him question his own life. Over the next few days, Clara and Alexander spent more time together. Clara got involved in discussions about the event details, making suggestions and observing every aspect with dedication. Alexander, initially irritated by her warm and genuine approach, began to realize that she wasn't just trying to please him, but that she believed in the value of what she was doing. On a cold December morning, as Clara was finishing decorating the dining room, Alexander entered the room. "I don't know why you're doing all of this," he said, his voice deep. Clara looked at him with a serene smile. "Because Christmas is more than just a date, Mr. Moretti. It's about people, connections, human warmth. No matter how much you have, what matters is what you give to others." Alexander, surprised by her words, remained silent for a moment. He wasn't used to hearing that kind of sincerity. Christmas had never been about that for him. For Alexander, Christmas had always been just another holiday, an excuse for more shopping and more business commitments. But Clara's simplicity was beginning to touch something within him. He wanted to ignore these feelings, wanted to continue his life without change, but something in Clara was challenging his own concepts about what was important. He couldn't look at her anymore without feeling a growing curiosity, as if she had something he would never have, a truly generous heart. The following days passed quickly, and Christmas Eve was approaching. Clara worked tirelessly, making the mansion more enchanting, and something in Alexander began to change. For the first time, he wasn't just observing the preparations. He was starting to get involved, albeit subtly. He found himself entering the living room, no longer with the intent to criticize, but out of curiosity. He would watch Clara arranging the final decorations with a soft smile on her face, which left him both uncomfortable and intrigued. Throughout the process, Clara spoke to everyone with the same kindness and attention, making the house staff feel valued, which was unusual in a mansion that had always been more of a workplace than a home. She shared her belief that Christmas wasn't just about expensive gifts or luxurious dinners, but about giving others the most precious thing you could offer: time, attention, affection. Alexander found himself forced to rethink his own beliefs. He had always thought that success was all about money, perfection, and absolute control. But now, by observing Clara, he saw that there were things far more valuable than anything he had achieved so far. She had the gift of turning any environment into a welcoming, lively place, and that was affecting him in a way he didn't know how to handle. On Christmas Eve, as Clara was arranging the final touches on the dinner table, Alexander entered the room with a softer expression. "You've done a good job, Clara," he said, his voice less harsh than usual. Clara looked up at him, surprised by his kindness. "Thank you very much, Mr. Moretti. I'm glad you liked it." Alexander gave a small smile, something she hadn't seen from him before. "I'm not used to this," he said, with a more vulnerable tone. "I never thought Christmas could be more than just another holiday. I didn't understand until now." He hesitated for a moment, then added, "You've shown me that the true magic isn't in the things we buy, but in the small actions we share." Clara looked at him for a moment, feeling warmth in her chest upon hearing those words. She knew he was still far from understanding everything, but those words were a start. The man who seemed so distant, so closed off, was slowly beginning to open his heart. On Christmas night, the mansion was glowing, illuminated by candles and soft lights that created an intimate and cozy atmosphere. Clara, in a simple and elegant dress, was radiant. She felt at home, even though it wasn't her home, because she knew that what really mattered at that moment was the smile of the people around her and the warmth of the relationships she was helping to build. The party was full of Alexander's staff and close friends, and unlike what he usually did, he genuinely engaged with everyone. He spoke with his employees, thanked his friends, and even made some toasts. But more importantly, he found himself approaching Clara more often than he had imagined. He watched her as if she were the only person who truly understood the value of the small moments. The night passed slowly, and dinner was served. Clara stood beside Alexander, serving wine glasses and interacting with the guests with her natural charm. Something inside him warmed when he looked at her. He knew this wasn't just about a party or Christmas. It was about the feelings he was beginning to awaken, feelings he never thought he would have, and had for so long ignored. At the end of the night, when the guests started leaving, Alexander found himself alone with Clara. He looked at her with an intensity she hadn't noticed before. "Clara," he said, his voice softer, "I don't know what you did to me, but I feel like I finally understood what really matters. Christmas isn't about things, but about people and what they share." Clara looked at him, a bit surprised. "I just shared a little bit of my heart, Mr. Moretti. Christmas is the perfect moment for that. It's not about perfection, but about connection." Alexander took a step closer to her. "I never knew I would be able to feel this, but you made me see what really matters. What impresses me the most is that, amidst all this grandeur, you never strayed from what is simple, what is genuine. You've taught me that this is more important than any luxury." Clara smiled softly. Sometimes, it takes the spirit of a simple person to show what life really means. Those words echoed in Alexander's heart like a deep reverberation. He who had always felt so lost, was now beginning to understand that, perhaps, Christmas was just the beginning of a new journey. After the Christmas party, Alexander found himself deep in thought. He couldn't stop thinking about Clara and the change she had brought to his life. For the first time in many years, he allowed himself to reflect on what he really wanted, not just at Christmas, but in life. Clara, with her simple way and open heart, made him question his priorities. What once seemed like an endless pursuit of power and success now seemed empty compared to what he felt when he was with her. However, Alexander still had something inside him that prevented him from fully opening up: his past. He knew that, over the years, he had shut himself off from love and people. His previous relationships had been superficial, shallow, and he had distanced himself from any emotional bond out of fear of being hurt. He feared that by opening up to Clara, he would lose himself again. It was then, on a cold January morning, that he found Clara in the mansion's garden, arranging some flowers. He knew he needed to speak with her, but he didn't know where to start. His feelings were confused. He wanted to get closer, but the fear of suffering again kept him from taking the next step. "Clara," he called, approaching her. She looked up at him, smiling. "What happened after the party? You seem different, more distant. Alexander sighed, feeling the tension in his chest. I am trying to understand what's happening to me. I never imagined something like Christmas could affect me so much. But the truth is, I don't know how to handle it. I have a past, Clara, and I don't know if I'm ready to leave it behind. Clara looked at him gently. You don't need to rush, Alexander. What happened that night isn't about forgetting the past, but about finding the balance between who you were and who you can become. Christmas is just an opportunity to begin to change, to try to live with more lightness. He looked at her, absorbing her words. He knew she was right, but still couldn't shake the weight he carried. I'm afraid, Clara, he admitted, more vulnerable than she had ever seen him. Afraid to open up and to lose myself. Clara smiled softly and placed a hand over his. Fear is part of the process, Alexander. But it takes courage to try. Sometimes, just trying is the beginning of something wonderful. As the days passed, Alexander tried to focus on work, but his mind always returned to Clara. He found himself making excuses to spend more time with her. He adored how she spoke about the simple things in life, the beauty of a sunny morning, the sound of snow falling, the joy of a sincere gesture. Clara made him realize how immersed he had been in his relentless pursuit of more, without ever stopping to appreciate what really mattered. That afternoon, after a frustrating meeting with one of his business partners, Alexander decided to take a bold step. He headed to Clara's office, where she was organizing the final details of an event she was planning for the company. He didn't know what was driving him, but he felt he couldn't continue living his life the same way. Clara, he said, his voice firmer but still full of emotion. I've been thinking about everything you said. I don't know how to express it, but you've shown me something I never realized. I've been living in a prison I built myself, and you were the key to open the door. Clara looked at him, surprised by the sincerity in his voice. I don't understand, Alexander. What are you saying? He stepped closer, his eyes fixed on hers. I'm saying that I want to change, Clara. I want to try living differently, more simply, more openly. And maybe, I don't know how to do it on my own. But you made me see that true happiness lies in the simple things, in the people who touch us in a real way. Clara was silent for a moment, processing his words. She knew he was still struggling with his past, but she felt something different in that moment, a genuine openness. I'm here, Alexander. And you're not alone. We'll build this together. For the first time in a long time, Alexander felt a sense of peace. He knew he was just beginning the journey to allow himself to be more than the impassive millionaire he had been. But with Clara by his side, he was ready to try. February brought a sense of renewal for Alexander. He and Clara started spending more time together, not just organizing events or working, but sharing sincere conversations, something he had never had with anyone. Clara helped him see life in a way he had never imagined. Little by little, he began to understand the value of each small moment, the importance of being present, and being more than just the successful millionaire he had always been. On a cold Saturday in February, they decided to spend the day at a local market, where Clara loved to go for fresh and simple products. At first, Alexander hesitated. The idea of going to such a simple market seemed out of his comfort zone. But to his surprise, he had fun. He enjoyed the simplicity of the environment, the conversations between people, the smell of fresh food. He felt something he had never felt before, belonging. I knew you'd like it, Clara said, smiling as she saw him so comfortable among the fruit and vegetable stalls. Sometimes, the simplest things are the most special. He looked at her, a soft expression on his face. I never imagined something so simple could be so fulfilling. I was so busy searching for more that I missed the chance to really live. Clara took his hand, feeling the weight of his words. It's what I always say, Alexander. Life isn't in the things we own, but in the experiences we live and the connections we make. That day, Alexander began to see that his happiness didn't depend on how much he had, but on how much he allowed himself to feel and live what truly mattered. He felt he was making a new beginning, a beginning alongside Clara. As the months went by, Alexander and Clara's relationship deepened. They began to understand each other not just as colleagues, but as friends, and gradually, as something more. Alexander started to feel that he had found in Clara a genuine connection, something he thought he would never find. He watched her with her simplicity, generosity, and zest for life, and knew that she had been the change he needed. On the eve of an important event, while Clara was finishing the preparations, Alexander invited her for a conversation. He was nervous, more than he would like to admit, but he felt it was time to take a more important step. Something in his heart told him that now was the moment to be truly honest with her. "Clara," he began, his voice softer than usual, "there's something I need to tell you. Never imagined I would open up like this to anyone, but you changed my life. Not just with your work, but with who you are. I've been a lost man for so long, but with you, I feel like I'm finally finding my way." Clara looked at him, surprised by the vulnerability he was showing. She knew he wasn't an easy person to approach, but in that moment, she saw something else, the true transformation he was living. "Alexander," she said gently, "you don't need to feel like that. What you're doing isn't about changing to please me. It's about you. You're allowing yourself to be who you truly are, without the masks, without the pressure." Alexander took her hands with affection. "I know, but I never would have gotten here without you. You've shown me the value of what's genuine, of what's simple. And more importantly, you've made me understand that true wealth is in sharing, in giving, in living with an open heart." Clara smiled, touched by his words. She knew he still had challenges ahead, but she also knew he was on the right path. "I've always believed that Christmas is the time for people to connect and rediscover themselves. But for you, that moment came at a different time. And I couldn't be happier to see the transformation you're living." Alexander looked at her, with an intensity in his eyes that he had never shown before. "I want you to know that, beyond everything that's happened, you've become much more to me than just an event assistant. You've shown me the magic of true love and connection." That night, under the soft light of Alexander's mansion, Clara and he shared a moment of deep understanding. From that moment on, there was no more doubt in their hearts. What they had was real, it was true. And Christmas, which once seemed so distant and meaningless, now represented for both of them the chance for a new beginning, together. Christmas Day was approaching again, and Alexander didn't know what to expect. What once was a date he preferred to avoid now had a completely different meaning. He was at peace with his decisions, with the path he was taking, and with the woman by his side. Christmas was no longer about luxury, expensive gifts, or extravagant parties. It was about true connections, simple gestures, and the beauty of sharing genuine moments. Clara and he had spent a lot of time together in the last few months, and their relationship had evolved from a work partnership to something deeper and more meaningful. Alexander allowed himself to feel again, something he had blocked for years, and with Clara, he discovered that love is not a weakness, but a force capable of transforming lives. On Christmas Eve, while Clara was finishing the preparations for the small dinner they had planned, Alexander called her for a conversation on the balcony. He knew it was time to confess his feelings in an honest and genuine way. "Clara, there's something I need to tell you before the night begins. I never imagined that Christmas would teach me so many things, but more than anything, it taught me what really matters. I'm truly grateful to have you in my life. You've shown me a world I didn't know existed, a world of feelings, of giving and receiving without expecting anything in return. And more importantly, you've shown me what it truly means to love." Clara, surprised, looked at him with a soft expression. She knew he was being sincere, but she never imagined he would be able to open up this way. "Alexander, you've always been someone who lived in a world where success was everything. But you're changing, and I see that. Love doesn't have to be something big or complex. What matters is the simplicity of gestures, the sincerity of words, and the intention behind them." Alexander smiled, touched by her words. He then approached her and with a deep and affectionate look he said, "I want to continue this journey by your side, Clara. I want to keep discovering the magic of Christmas, the joy of living with an open heart. You are everything I never knew I needed." She smiled, her eyes shining with emotion. "And you are everything I knew someone like you could be, Alexander. You just needed an opportunity to open up to what truly matters." That night, Alexander's house was filled with soft lights and a warm, welcoming atmosphere that seemed to emanate from every corner. The Christmas dinner, simple yet full of meaning, was ready. Clara and Alexander were surrounded by friends and colleagues, and although the event was small, the atmosphere was full of laughter and genuine moments of joy. Alexander, who used to be a distant and closed-off man, was now in tune with everyone. He conversed with everyone, paid attention to his friends' stories, and made a point of sincerely thanking everyone who was there. He was present, body and soul, something he had never experienced at any previous Christmas parties. By Clara's side, Alexander felt a deep happiness, a happiness he knew he would never have found alone. She had been the key for him to understand what really mattered: connecting with people, sharing moments, and giving without expecting anything in return. At dessert time, Alexander stood up, looked at Clara, and with a firm voice said, "I want to thank everyone for being here. But especially you, Clara. You've taught me that Christmas isn't just a date. It's about us, about the people around us, and what we can do for each other. To me, you are the true Christmas gift, and I am grateful for every moment we've shared together." Clara looked at him with a smile of genuine happiness, feeling a wave of emotion fill her heart. "I'm also grateful, Alexander. Christmas is the time to celebrate what we have and who we are. And today, I can say that there's nothing more important than being here with you." The night passed in a mix of joy and serenity, and Alexander, for the first time in his life, felt that Christmas truly made sense. It was no longer about luxury and ostentation, but about small gestures, sincere words, and the true love he now felt in his heart. The man who once lived in search of riches now found his true wealth in the moments shared with those he loved. And so, Alexander's Christmas wasn't just the end of a year but the beginning of a new journey, a journey in which he learned to live with an open heart, ready for everything love and life had to offer. And so, Alexander's Christmas wasn't just a celebration, but the beginning of a deep transformation. He who once lived in a world of luxury and loneliness, now understood that the true meaning of life was in simple and genuine moments, in love, and in connection with others. By Clara's side, he discovered that happiness isn't in the things we can buy, but in the experiences and acts of kindness we share. The man who thought he had everything now knew that what really mattered was what he gave of himself. Christmas, which once was just a date on the calendar, became the milestone of a new journey, of a new beginning. If you also believe that the true meaning of Christmas goes beyond presents and ostentation, leave your like and share this story with someone who needs to hear this message. Comment on what moved you the most, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming stories. Love is in the air, and we want you to be part of it. See you in the next video.